Hey guys, MetalJesus here, and I'm back with another travel video. This time I'm taking a 3-day road trip across the mountains into eastern Washington state. You guys know me, and I love hopping in a car on a bright sunny day, revving up that engine and hitting the open road. So in this video, we're going to see some truly beautiful scenery. I think you guys are going to be kind of blown away. I know I was. We're also going to do some video game hunting, and at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you everything I picked up. Let's take a look. All right, it's day one, and my wife and I, Rebecca, are driving south down Puget Sound, and the plan is we're gonna go over Chinook Pass. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because I've mentioned this before, but Washington State is really divided into two separate climates. See, when most people think of Washington State, what do you think of? Well, you think of Seattle, you think of clouds, you think of rain, you think of green trees and all that beautiful stuff. And that's really actually only half of the state, because we are divided by the Cascade Range. And because that is so high, essentially none of that moisture gets over to the other side. And because of that, actually, about half of the year, a lot of the passes and roads to go over to eastern Washington from western Washington, they're closed because they're dangerous to drive on half the year. You know, they're snowy, it's impossible. So really what you need to do is wait until the spring or the summer when all that snow melts and all those roads open up. That was my plan. And as you guys know, I've lived most of my life in Washington State, and I've never actually taken this Chinook Pass before. I don't know why. Never took it as a kid, and I've always wanted to drive it as an adult. So now is the time. The big benefit of taking this road is that you're going to be driving so close to Mount Rainier. And I got to tell you, it did not disappoint. Oh my God, it is so amazing as you are winding your way, twisting and turning on these back roads, and that mountain's just getting bigger and bigger. And it's great for road trips like this because there's not a lot of traffic, especially if you go during the week like we did. So we definitely pulled over a couple times and just stood there and took in all the natural beauty. It's funny because, like I said, I live here and I'm still blown away all the time. It's great to get out like this. And like they say, you know, as the kids say, touch grass a little bit. You know what I mean? Get in touch with nature. Let the wind blow in your hair a little bit. It's pretty awesome. And then as you get over Chinook Pass and over the mountains, you start to see the landscape really changing from green with lots of trees to turning into kind of a flat and desert-like area. It's so trippy if you've never experienced this before. Again, you know, people have no idea if they've never been to Washington State that it's really two completely different climates like this. It's awesome. And the big benefit being, of course, that the weather is much nicer over here and also much more predictable. So over on the eastern side, they really have 4 seasons over here. And definitely during the summer, it gets pretty hot. You see my phone here showing 98 degrees. So that's about 36 degrees Celsius. And when we left Seattle, I want to say it was probably 80. Our destination for the first day is the city of Yakima. And the reason why I chose that is because basically this was about 160 miles from where we started. It took us about 3 hours to get here, and that's a good stopping place. If you think about it, that you know, that pass we took, you can't really go too fast. And so that's a perfect amount of driving for the first day. Plus, I want to check out a game store there. I'm back in Yakima and I got to check out One Up Games. Let's take a look. You may recall that I visited this game store a couple years ago during the pandemic, and that was a really weird time for pretty much everybody. And I was glad to come back and see that this mom and pop store is not only surviving, but actually thriving. And so, yeah, I was pretty excited to check this place out again. It's the only retro gaming store that I'm aware of in Yakima. And because of that, they've got a ton of inventory. You can tell that a lot of people bring their stuff here, and there is this active community here, which is really cool. On the wall here, I saw all these Sega Genesises. How are you supposed to say that? All I know is that they've got plenty if you're looking for one. And check out these Fallout statues. I guess they just got them in like a week ago or so. But man, these were epic. I love these things. These are the type of things where you're like, how does this end up all the way out in Yakima? I was like, how does this happen? But yeah, I mean, again, video games are everywhere, man. You just have to look. I was definitely digging this wall of Xbox 360 games. It is crazy to see 360 games now getting all this exposure and all this like extra attention from collectors. And yeah, you know, I had to dig through there. It's always stunning to see just this massive assortment of Switch games. Look at that. There's so many. I mean, some of them I've never even heard of before. And I said it before, man, but I pity anybody who's going to go for a complete Switch collection at this point. It's going to be impossible. Now, I did pick up several games at this store, and like I said, I will show those at the end of the video. Yakima is a pretty good sized city, and so I knew that there were a couple Goodwill thrift stores here, and so we had some extra time before dinner, and so I did check out a couple of those, but sadly I struck out. And then we ended the first day with some pretty tasty Mexican food. Now, Eastern Washington is actually known for their really good Mexican food, and yeah, this place did not disappoint. The next morning we wake up, I come out of the hotel room and I instantly smelled smoke and saw ash in the air. I was like, what is going on here? It literally just smelled like a massive fire was happening really close to us. Well, it didn't take long for us to figure out exactly what's going on because there was a raging fire right next to the freeway. I'd never seen that before. And that's the thing about Eastern Washington that you have to be aware of, is that it's pretty dry over here, as you can tell, and so yeah, fires can be an issue. However, as you see here, the scenery will be broken up every once in a while with these random lakes and rivers, which is really beautiful going over some of these bridges. The plan for this morning is to drive over to the city of Wenatchee, and along the way, we stopped at a rest stop. And I was amazed to see the other side of Mount Rainier from this side of the state. The reason for that is because often Mount Rainier is kind of associated with the western side that I live on, especially in like travel videos and photos. But as you see, man, it's still gorgeous over here. And yeah, it's massive. And this is something I'm starting to see more and more on this side of the state, are all these massive wind machines for making electricity, which is pretty cool. Although, as you can see, not much wind going on today. All right, we roll into Wenatchee, and I'm told that there is a very cool retro gaming store I need to check out. I'm in Wenatchee, and I heard that I had to check out this brand new place called The Time Capsule. I guess they've got everything from video games to collectibles. Let's check it out. This place was kind of a trip because it's in the lower part of a building and it's kind of hidden a little bit. But when you walk in here, it's so cozy and so cool. So the first thing I noticed in the back is that there is this retro styled bedroom setup and also this free play arcade. I love it when stores like this not only sell stuff, but they are celebrating retro, right? Retro everything, not just video games, but movies and cards and action figures. This is pretty neat. Oh yeah, baby, I had to get some time in some Metal Slug. Oh yeah, this is fun. I'm digging this whole wall of old VHS movies. And then over here, they also have a bunch of DVDs. So yeah, like I said, it's a mix of video games, but also movies and other retro-inspired stuff. Do you remember that old movie with Tom Cruise called Legend from the 1980s? My wife and I are massive fans of Tim Curry as the Darkness in that. Not a great movie, but man, he was awesome in that, and this was a pretty cool piece of artwork. I also got to meet the owner of the store. He had no idea that I was actually going to walk in on this day. I just showed up, kind of unexpected, but man, super cool dude. Got to hang out with him. He's very passionate about retro games and toys, and especially Wolverine. I guess that's his passion for sure. So yeah, if you are in the area or if you live in Wenatchee and you like video games, you got to shop here. The plan now is to drive to the city of Chalan, and this is where I started to get a little bit concerned because I don't know if you can see it in this footage really well, but basically smoke was starting to hang in the air and there was very little wind. And like I mentioned previously, that's the thing that's been not so great about Eastern Washington over the last probably decade is that fires they've been a problem over here. Now, if you're not familiar with Chalan, it's a really popular resort town, and it only has 4,000 full-time residents. However, over 2 million people visit the area each year because it typically has like 300 days of nice weather. They've got water sports. It's obviously beautiful, and it's just got this really great laid-back vibe. I used to live here as a kid in the 80s, and I loved it. So coming back every once in a while, oh, it's such a treat for me. And so this is where we ended day 2, hanging out both in Chalan and also a little town about maybe 5 or 10 minutes down the road called Manson. We woke up the next morning and wow, smoke and haze and ash was just floating in the air. It was almost choking you. As we were driving into town from our hotel, you could barely see across that lake. This is very unusual because this is actually a bright, sunny day. But you would never know that because of all that smoke right there. You should be able to see for miles, and you can't. And this really sucks because, like I said, I used to live here as a kid, and I don't remember fires being this bad or this common. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they can do about this, but it's definitely a bummer. I feel sorry for the people who come here for an entire week, maybe on like a family vacation, because this would not be good. However, this is not really that big of a deal for us because I had already planned on moving north. We're actually going to weave our way back home, and we're going to hit up these little towns called Twisp and also Winthrop. And they're just far enough away that the air should be much clearer. Again, it's really fun being on a road trip like this because you're on kind of back roads a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, these are highways, but as you can see, they're not very busy, especially, like I said, during the week. And so you can really just kind of sit down and relax and enjoy the trip, looking out the window a little bit, taking in all the scenery. And these little towns along the way, they're small and cute and really fun and easy to stop into, right? There's no big crowds or anything like that. And especially Winthrop, I thought was pretty cool because it's kind of this cowboy town, almost trapped in time. But the plan is to continue north to Diablo Lake. That's where we're going to cross the mountains and head back into Puget Sound. And just look at Diablo Lake. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. I love how the road just takes you right to this spot where you can get out of your car and take in this view. I mean, this is a world-class view here, right? Like, you don't have to pay to park or anything. It's along the drive. You pull over and you take in this crazy, gorgeous lake. Now you're probably noticing it has this kind of milky blue hue to the water. Well, that's caused by fine particles that have eroded over the centuries, I guess from ice and water, and they just sit there in the lake. Truly stunning to behold for sure. And if you want, you can actually drive down to the bottom and get out and actually get closer to the lake if you want. We didn't necessarily have enough time to do that, but yeah, if you're in the area and you're looking for something really cool, definitely stop at Diablo Lake. And that, guys, is our quick 3-day road trip over to Eastern Washington. Now let's get back to Seattle and I'll show you the video games I picked up. All right, guys, now believe it or not, the B movie game has long been considered a bit of a hidden gem. It got better reviews than you might expect from, a movie tie-in game. I've actually had it on my list of games to get, and I saw it. It was cheap, so I was very happy. I finally found a copy. I haven't played it yet, but if you have, let me know down in the comments. My quest to get all the older Spider-Man games continues with Spider-Man Friend or Foe. I guess this is designed to play more like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, which I love those. So if that's true, I'm going to love this game as well. Although I guess it's designed to appeal to a slightly younger audience, but again, that's okay as long as it's fun. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to check it out. NASCAR Arcade Rush. So this is another game that got a bit of a bad rap for, I guess, being not a sim or maybe too simplistic when it came out. Maybe it was too expensive at the time. But, everyone that I talked to, including the dude who was working at the store, said they enjoyed it way more than they expected to. So I'm actually excited to check this out. You guys know I love arcade racing games, so I may dig it. The Crew Motor Fest. This is Ubisoft's answer to the Forza Horizon series. I've heard this game is okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to love this game or not, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I just hope that Ubisoft keeps the servers up so we can continue to play the game, after a couple years, and they don't just kill it off, which is so annoying that they do that. So I'm hoping this is on the disc, won't require their servers. I don't know. We'll see. Here's a game I admittedly know nothing about. I saw the cover. I was like, what is that? Well, Legendary turns out to be a first-person shooter, and I haven't played it yet, but I am in that mode where I'm looking for 360 games that I don't own. So I picked it up, and honestly, it was super cheap. So let me know in the comments if you think it's worth a play or not. And then check this out, Gears of War 2 Limited Edition. I hadn't seen this before either, and I really loved Gears of War 2. When it originally came out, I spotted this limited edition for a good price, and yeah, I had to snag it. As you see, it comes with this nice steel case, as well as this hardcover book inside look at the making of the game, which has some interviews with the developers, some concept art, and more. So yeah, this seemed like a easy buy for me, because like I said, I love that game. And that, guys, is everything I picked up. So let me know what you thought about this road trip to Eastern Washington. As you guys know, I love doing these, and frankly, I would do these all the time if I could make the time. But yeah, especially during summer, it's really important for me to get out, get in the sunshine, get in my car, drive with the stereo cranking, got my wife next to me. All good times, man. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.